Katie Wilson outlines her ICE response as Seattleites take to the streets and protest, the effects of Seattle taxes on DoorDash, and Good Newsday Tuesday. But first, I want to ask you, Hannah Krieg, Seattle's reporter without a boss and founder of The Burner, what is your go-to late night food order?
Oh my God, I live in fear of your opening questions. I'm like, this one is fine. Some of them I'm like, oh my God, I have no idea what you're talking about. This one's good. Okay. um, Late night food order. I feel like things are closed so early that like the place near me that's open the latest is like Spice Bliss. And so
Mm,
I gotta get probably a butter paneer garlic naan situation for the girls
that
at
sounds
the
good.
hour.
Yes. What about you, executive producer Ashley Smith? What's your go-to food night? Oh, wait. What's your go-to late night food order?
Yeah, that's it's hard because places just aren't open that late. But if I can find a Thai restaurant that hasn't closed yet, that would be like my getting it delivered order. But if I am able to like leave my house and go get it, then I'll just go find my closest Dick's since they're usually open till like 1.
It's true.
Dick's. Reliable standby.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, we'll come back to talking about places that you can order your late night food. But first, I want to talk a little bit about how over the last few days, thousands of Seattleites have poured into the streets for a variety of ICE protests. Honestly, I've lost count of all of the ones that I've heard about. I know that there is critical mass on Friday, as well as another bike ride in honor of Alex Preddy on Alki on Saturday. UW students gathered at Gerberding Hall on campus on Friday during the strike as well. Healthcare workers held a march at Harborview and joined up with educators who were demonstrating on Capitol Hill. What does it mean that everyone is in the streets and that there are multiple protests happening at the same time?
It's pretty incredible that many could be organized, honestly. But to me, that just says that this is big, right? Like it has to mean something if this many people are paying attention and willing to leave the house to talk about it, like especially in Seattle. I feel like that's got to be a big deal.
Yeah, no, it's pretty incredible. I was seeing the march through Capitol Hill. It just kept on getting bigger and bigger, and no end in sight when they were going down. I think they're going down Pine, but it's really just huge. It's incredible.
Saw a lot of people on light rail on Saturday. One of them told me that the world is small and that one of her friends, knew Alex Preddy, worked with him, and
Wow.
it was why she wanted to go out. So I know that there was also a protest at Target on Friday, and Hannah, I know you were there. Can you tell us a bit about what demonstrators were asking for?
Yeah, the Target. I didn't know what the Target protest was going to be about when I went, so I was like asking around. I was like, I'm going to do some
What is
journalism. I guess I
this?
don't even know why we're here, but yeah, I believe Target is a Minneapolis based brand that's like in the same way that Starbucks is Seattle, it's not local anymore obviously. But besides that, MLK Labor and a bunch of other kind of union organizations and other groups organized this rally in solidarity with Minneapolis, and then other cities were taking part in a targeted protest that day too. But according to MLK Labor, their basic gripes with Target were that the Target CEO donated $1 million to Trump's inauguration. They rolled back key DEI initiatives. I think we all remember that being kind of a
Yes.
story of maybe
That was
last
the
year.
last thing that I'd heard about people trying to boycott Target over.
Yes. Yeah. Something about, yeah. And then the other issue, probably most relevant to this moment, is that I guess Target has been allowing ICE to use their parking lots for like staging purposes. And that's obviously not what people would support right now. So there was, yeah, a pretty big crowd though there on Friday.
Were there any specific demands for the Seattle Target? This was a downtown Target, right?
I don't think the demands are specific for Seattle. They gave a demand letter to the general manager, and then they said that it would go up the chain. There were like a handful of demands that were kind of uh some of them including like make Target like a private place, like ICE can't come here, it's private. I mean, I think that's like always well intentioned when people talk about like, oh, put up the signs that this is a private place, you can't come in without a warrant. But it's like, okay, we have to understand that ICE is executing people in the street, and that's also very illegal. So it's like, I don't really know. It's kind of like that DW meme from
Thank you.
Arthur.
I was just thinking of that. This sign can't stop me because I can't read.
Yeah, and not to like shit on people who are trying to make their community a safer place. I think it's like, it's all well intentioned, but I think it's sort of, we're past that point maybe, but I don't know.
I'm glad you explained the target of it all, because I was confused on the location. And especially in a city like Seattle, where we have Amazon, Starbucks, Google, Microsoft, et cetera.
Palantir, you know?
Like, why are you at Target? But that makes sense.
Yeah.
Wait, Jane, you went to the Critical Mass bike ride on Friday too. How was that?
It was enormous. There were, I don't know how many people. I would guess well over 1,000 in the beginning, to the point where it became kind of like an Ouroboros of bike riders, where we would circle the block and then just realize that we were all kind of riding around the same area. Like, people would just get kind of stuck because there was such a high density of bikes. But it was really powerful to see that many people out in the streets. For the most part, the drivers that I saw were supportive. Some were quite aggressive, unfortunately. One of the more exciting parts of that ride was we went down Rainier to where the new Judkins Park station is going to open. And it really struck me how little bike infrastructure there is there. Like, you know, when you have like hundreds, maybe even 1,000 people riding, it feels safer because, you know, no cars are able to go around you whizzing at like 45 miles an hour. But like, you have all of the off ramps for the highway for 90 right there. And there were people on bikes trying to signal to cars like, hey, please stop, because we've got this like giant group of cyclists going through. But I thought it was a really interesting way for the bike community to also kind of highlight what needs work before that station opens, in addition to riding around town and kind of spreading the message.
Yeah. Can I ask something kind of ignorant? I know that Critical Mass does this like pretty often, but was Alex Preddy like a cyclist? Was there some kind of connection there?
Yeah, he was. So this was in solidarity with a bike shop in Minneapolis called Angry Catfish, which I think the day that Preddy was murdered had posted that, you know, Preddy is one of us, that he was part of the larger Minneapolis bike community. So it wasn't just Seattle. I believe there were cities all over the US that were doing solidarity rides, mostly on Saturday. Okay. But the big one here, Critical Mass, was on Friday night. And yeah, they ride every last Friday of the month. So if you're ever downtown and you see a whole bunch of cyclists, that's probably what's going on.
That's cool.
Yeah. So on the government side of things, last week, Katie Wilson released a statement about how she plans to protect the city from ICE. Hannah, I'm curious what you thought about that statement. If you can tell us a little about what she said in it.
Yeah, basically Katie Wilson came out with a statement on, must have been, Thursday or Friday. And she, I think, had 4 promises. The main one, or maybe the most interesting one, was that she was going to have the Seattle Police Department document, verify, otherwise investigate ICE activity. And if they were dispatched to an area with apparent ICE activity, they would have to like use their body cams and their dash cams to document like the situation. It wasn't like a call for SPD to arrest ICE agents when they act unlawfully, which they often do. But it was, and I clarified that with the office, but it was still taken really negatively from the right and the Seattle Police Union. So it was, definitely an interesting statement.
Right. So SPOG president Mike Salon said that Wilson's orders were, quote, toothless virtue signaling. And in this other statement, he said the concept of pitting 2 armed law enforcement agencies against each other is ludicrous and will not happen. I will not allow SPOG members to be used as political pawns. Is this essentially Salon saying, I'm going to undercut the power of what Wilson is trying to institute?
Certainly seems that way. Yeah.
Yeah. I think though what's interesting is he's not running to be union president again, so I don't know like if he was going to be union president again, this would probably mean a lot more. If this is reflective of the sentiment of the union, then it means a lot, but I don't know how their hierarchy works. He's kind of rogue on Twitter, so I don't know if they like voted on this statement and this represents the members of the Seattle Police Officers Guild. I would imagine it represents many of them because I think that, law enforcement does stick together, and I think that they are probably in general wary of Katie Wilson. So I think there's cause for concern for sure.
Last month when Salon announced that he was going to step down, he also endorsed another candidate, Kent Liu, to take his place. So I do wonder if, even if Salon is not going to still be the SWOG president, if those words do represent who the future SWOG president might be. It also seems like, the bulk of ICE manpower so far has been focused on one city at a time. So LA, Portland, Chicago, now Minneapolis. There's a recent headline that I saw in the Needling, Seattle's Real Fake News. Uninvaded Seattle beginning to feel like Trump doesn't even think it has Antifa anymore. So it feels like we've escaped some of the worst of the ICE invasion. But lately we've been more on the Twitter manosphere radar. So over the weekend, Elon Musk retweeted a right-wing social media personality who was claiming that Wilson's statement is, quote, going to mobilize the actual police force to do what signal networks do in Minneapolis. And Musk's retweet comment on this was just the word insurrection. I'm really hoping that we don't see anything like what Minneapolis has, and really that no U.S. city does. But if it comes here, what else can Wilson do to stand up to federal encroachment?
Yeah, I was going to say, what do we want her to do if we don't think that SPD, like if we don't feel that we can trust SPD to do anything about it, I guess. Like, I don't even know what the other action is that she could take, but maybe I'm just ignorant to that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are still trying to figure that out. Like I went to a town hall hosted by Katie Wilson's transition team that was kind of trying to ask this question to community about like what should the response be to federal attacks. And like people were also talking about importantly trans issues and like the trans refugees coming to Washington and like the affordability crisis making that really difficult. But when it came to immigration, which was the ICE raids, which was a huge part of that conversation too, it kind of seemed like there's like people still don't really know. And I mean, it's not their job to know either. That's why we pay Katie Wilson the big bucks, right? It's so she can come up with good ideas that meaningfully like protect people. But I mean, in that room, I mean, the biggest demand of all, as I've said a million times, was for Katie Wilson to shut the fucking cameras off. And it sounds like she's going to make an announcement sometime this week about whether she's going to pause that expansion that the city passed at the end of last year, what the future of the entire CCTV system and ALPR system in Seattle will be. So look out for that, I guess.
All right, well, let's take a break. And when we come back, let's talk about DoorDash. Seattle is the most expensive market for food delivery in the U.S., in part because of a policy that went into effect in 2024, which requires companies to uphold certain rights for delivery drivers, including a minimum wage per mile, per minute, and per offer. So I was looking at those stats, and the 2026 per minute amount is 47 cents. So if these DoorDash drivers are on the clock for, say, an hour, that's $28 plus 80 cents for every mile driven, and about $5 minimum per delivery. DoorDash is, unsurprisingly, displeased with this, saying that it's hurting local businesses because they're getting fewer orders and less revenue, that consumers are paying 3.5 times the average order paid by consumers in Denver, San Francisco, and Portland, and that Dashers are potentially having a worse experience as a result. I don't have the same numbers that DoorDash does. They did not share those, so I can't speak to whether those stats are accurate. But I do think this opens a bigger conversation about delivery food in Seattle. Do you all use DoorDash?
I do, unfortunately, yeah. I'm not allowed
Ashley,
to anymore, but I do.
Ashley, why are you not allowed to anymore?
Because I just used it way, way, way too much in 2025. So my like New Year's resolution was to stop that, or at least to reduce it significantly. I call it laziness. Really, it's just like I work too much and I didn't go to the grocery store, and so now I'm going to order dinner. But yeah, the fees are insane, and then of course I want to tip the drivers as well. So it becomes like twice as much as it should be, which is wild.
I also have been known to use DoorDash, especially someone gave me a gift certificate to it. And yes, I could go through the Taco Bell drive-through, but I also could pay someone to bring it to me. And sometimes that's my little guilty pleasure. Hannah, you're just like a no. Why is there like a moral stance you've taken on this, or is it just like there's easy enough stuff to walk to from where you live?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a partial moral stance, but it's also I live in Capitol Hill, and I like am I am not in the financial position to spend $50 for someone, like a luxury thing for someone to hire a servant to bring me something. Like it's kind of just like this ridiculous system that I feel like a lot of people feel really entitled to. And so there is like a moral part of it. It's also like I can go across the street and there's like 5 things near me. So I'm very privileged to like live where I live, and I take advantage of that.
I think a lot of these services, when they first launched, used to be really cheap. Like I have before, of course, these policies in Seattle passed. I feel like you could get a delivery for a fairly small amount of money. And I was thinking about the connection to other businesses that rely on that convenience in some way. Like, taking Uber or Lyft also used to be super cheap back when, VC funding was really hiding the true costs to consumers, often at the expense of gig workers who obviously also need to be paid a living wage. Is this just the bill come due for these companies?
I absolutely think so. I think if your business model relies on exploiting people, it's a business that shouldn't exist.
True.
And so if it comes to the point where like DoorDash is too expensive that the demand is no longer there, it's like DoorDash can't exist. Like I'm sorry, but it's like we can't allow like in what is in extreme cases kind of slavery. Like it's too much. So I think, yeah, this is the bill come due. This is the cost of a luxury good, which is having someone bring something to you. And that's, yeah, I think we got used to exactly what you said, Jane.
Garçon, please bring me my $20 sandwich.
Yes.
But now it's like you have to pay the garçon $20, like, which I think is fair. If you want a $20 sandwich, you're going to pay them for their time to bring it to you too.
I used to work on Pitchfork Economics with Nick Hanauer, and he would always say, if your business cannot afford to pay people a living wage, then your business should not exist. So to Hannah's point, like that makes total sense. It is the price of convenience, and it is quite high in Seattle. So I'd actually be really curious to hear what local businesses say, because DoorDash is claiming that restaurants are unhappy, but are they really? Like, would they rather people just come in and pick up their own to-go orders, or maybe actually come and sit in the restaurant that they pay rent to have, So I don't know that I would be really curious to hear from small businesses what they think.
I really hate to say it, but small businesses existed before DoorDash, and they face larger issues than like people not DoorDashing anymore. They face like extremely high costs of commercial rent and like crazy regressive taxes on small businesses, which I think is changed now under Alexis Mercedes-Ring's B&O tax reform. But it's just like, this is not, DoorDash should not be using like small business as a weapon when it's like, this is not their chief concern, I think, really at all.
Yeah. I mean, I think also it's not like there's a monolith small business. I'm sure some small businesses are maybe struggling because they relied more on these delivery orders than others. But I wonder what the conversion is, because for me, Sure, I order delivery less, but it also means that when I do want to order out, I make a point of picking it up. So I don't know
Mm.
that overall there's that much lost in business. For me, it's more like I'm shifting the cost from uh, trying to get a delivery service and paying them for it versus me just getting on my little bike or walking or getting in my car to go pick it up myself and leaving maybe a bigger tip for the restaurant.
Yeah, because I'm sure they pay fees to DoorDash. So I don't
Absolutely.
know, maybe cutting out that middleman would be the best way forward. Just go back to how it used to be, which seems to be the trend. Like people, instead of taking Ubers, are taking cabs again because Ubers got too expensive. Instead of renting Airbnbs, they're going back to hotels. And so now it's like, well, instead of food delivery, what if I just go pick it up? Or maybe, 16-year-olds can actually get paid to like be delivery drivers for pizza places again. I don't know. But it just seems like maybe we're reverting back to the way that things were before all of this convenience app culture became a thing.
Mhm.
We're buying physical media. We're
Yeah. Analog is
going back
back,
to flip
baby.
phones. Everything old is new again.
Yep.
All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, let's talk about some good news. So we are going to start doing a segment every Tuesday called Good Newsday Tuesday because personally, I need it. I want to know what good news is happening in the city, in your neighborhood, just any little pick me up because I feel like otherwise it's kind of bleak out there sometimes. Ashley, do you have anything to contribute?
I feel like mine is so basic. It's just I'm so excited about the Seahawks going to the Super Bowl. That's this
Yeah.
weekend. Like that's exciting and they're favored to win and I don't know. That still feels like good news to me because it's been a long time since we've been here. And so yeah, that's what I'm excited about.
Are you having a little party? Or are you going somewhere to watch? What's the vibes?
I know it would probably be more fun to go somewhere to watch, but I do love watching the games at home. And I randomly won like a keg full of Bud Light over the weekend. So now I need to find friends to drink that with me. So if anyone wants to come over, let me know.
Keg of Bud Light. Wow. Incredible. So this might take us out of the territory of good news. And I saw something about how the Seahawks might be being sold, but now they're not being sold. What is going on with that?
There's a lot of weird drama about that. I thought that it was like debunked completely, but it came back around over the weekend. Even like Sports Illustrated or something was talking about it. There's something that Jody Allen isn't doing, or she was supposed to sell the team a long time ago, and she got the team when Paul Allen died. And so I don't know, the Seahawks were fined $5 million because they haven't been sold yet or something. I don't know. There's like some weird pressure, I think, to sell the team. Who that pressure's coming from, I don't know if it's the NFL. There was some rumor about it being like a Robert Kraft thing. He owns the Patriots. And so maybe this is like drumming up drama before the big rematch. I don't know what's going on, but it's odd.
Rumor it had something to do with the Epstein files, which I think is just what people are saying about everything right now.
It all comes around to the okay. We're not talking about the Epstein files in this segment.
So sorry, actually not in the good news segment. I'm naturally negative.
So a piece of good news that I heard, not related to the Epstein files, is that Tim's Tavern is assuming operations of Slim's Last Chance in Georgetown. So the venue's owners were moving to California, and so now it gets to stay open, which is always nice when an institution gets to remain, even if the owners take off and go elsewhere. And this is close to my heart. I'm really excited that we're going to get tap to pay on all Orca card, or sorry, instead of Orca cards, you can just tap to pay on transit. And that has soft launched on the Rapid Ride G, which goes through downtown and Capitol Hill. So
love a soft launch.
Love a soft launch.
Yeah, that is exciting. We finally caught up with the times. Just so much easier to tap your phone, tap your card, than have to like get an Orca card. I still have my super old blue one from back in the day, but yeah, I'm excited to try that out next time I hop on a bus or light rail or something.
That's good. That's a good one.
Hannah, do you have anything good that you want to share?
I had to dig. I really did, but I remembered this is more broader Washington, I guess, but Washington's most infamous Democratic Congresswoman, Maria Gluesenkamp Perez, is being clowned on online on a national scale after a bad vote for DHS funding. But it's good news because the clowning is so funny. I don't know if it's real. Like, people keep on saying that she used to sell like bad weed in Portland, and like that's really funny to me. Or she tried to get out of like paying her rent by like giving like her roommates dumpster diving goods that she found. Probably a lot of this is lies, but some of it is funny, and I hope it's true.
We will all say allegedly.
Allegedly. It's a funny Twitter conversation and probably mostly meme, but believable.
You know,
there's nothing
it's
funnier than a comment section, truly.
Yes.
Especially on TikTok. Oh my God, the best.
Mm-hmm.
People really are so creative. One thing that I really miss about Seattle, the dumpster diving made me think of this, was the old Theo's chocolate dumpster.
Yeah.
Back when they didn't lock it. For a while, it was just a free-for-all. And then they started locking it. And then I think it's just gone away completely since Theo's is no longer. But
I know Fremont used to smell so good when they'd be cooking that chocolate. I don't whatever they're doing to the chocolate.
I called it the chocolate wins, and I miss it very much.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, well, thank you all for sharing your good news. We'll be back next Tuesday with more good news for Good Newsday Tuesday, which I'm going to keep repeating because I just like that it rhymes. Thank you so much, Hannah, for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And Ashley, thank you for being here.
Anytime.